All right, we'll call the Public Safety Committee meeting for the City of Hudson to order on October 8th, 2020. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Alms is excused. Alderperson Hall? Here. Alderperson Morset?
Here. Thanks, Melanie. Number 2 on the item is the minutes of the regular meeting, September 10th, 2020.
Move to approve.
I'll second. Are there any corrections or any revisions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Just a little housekeeping. I just want to make sure that all of issues go to Chief Willems for the agenda preparation, and then it will go to me as chairperson because the chairperson confirms and approves what goes on the agenda. So we have a little bit of housekeeping to do so we don't get lengthy agenda items. More than likely, all the items will be put on the agenda. It's just we need to just, one person needs to be in charge of that. You can't just email and put things on the agenda. It doesn't work like that.
So I should send things to Jeff rather than you? Okay.
Jeff will send it to me because we can't because of a quorum.
Okay. Yep.
Moving on, number 3, discussion possible action to erect speed limit signs on Colonial Drive. And I believe this one came from Jeff. Yeah. He received an email on Colonial Drive that he's concerned about the speeds on the road. Colonial Drive is a residential street that connects 11th Street with Cooley Road in access to Lincoln Lane. So he drove it, and there are no speed limit signs on either side of Colonial Drive. So my thought was, well, for starters, we should probably put speed limit signs up.
Is it 25 along there?
Yes. Dean, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Dean.
Just being incognito.
Not allowed.
Yeah, there are not speed limit signs along there, and the speed limit statutorily is 25 miles per hour on that street.
Do you think that's a good start instead of just hurry up and throwing everything at it?
Well, it's a low cost thing. It wouldn't hurt. The only thing I could think of is, and this will be a future agenda item is, do we want to get, put speed limit signs all over town kind of like this if we have a complaint? I mean, it's kind of like, I don't want to see speed limit signs all over town, but I'm not really that opposed to putting them up, just as a first measure, just to see if it'll help. So.
Well, I agree. I mean, we don't want to sign everything. You can't do that. But yep. If warranted like this, I would say is warranted because there are none, Has
the black box been put up to find out what speeds people are going?
Jeff, did you get a vehicle count on that?
At what location are you talking about?
Colonial?
No, not yet. It's up on East Canyon again. Further south from where we did it the first time to try and get a more current data as well as a different location. But I can put it up on Colonial next.
Okay.
That'll be next week.
Is that a priority for you, Joyce, there?
Well, I think that it's a good idea to have information on what speeds people are going, and whether. All right, Dean. Another question is 25 an appropriate speed limit for that, or are there a lot of residential houses along there that?
Well, it is a residential area. I don't know that I'd want to go down the track of reducing the speed there because then you kind of also, again, open up the can of worms is, do we sign 20 miles per hour throughout town, that kind of
Yeah.
thing, which would be a discussion we could have, but probably not at this
No.
moment. So I think at this point in time, 25 signing that, I think would probably be a good first step.
What does it cost to put up each speed limit sign?
That's public works issue.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, where's Mike when we need him?
I think it's about a few $100
Okay.
per sign. Probably something like $200 per sign by the time you get the pole and sign and everything in there. So in that ballpark anyway.
And we have to be cognitive of the fact that we are spending quite a bit on signs lately, and we need to flush this stuff through just to make sure we're doing the prudent thing in every issue that comes up without knee-jerking reacting. I mean, one person complains about this, and then holy smokes, we got to put bumps and all this other stuff. You just got to slow down and to identify, listen to the engineers as much as I don't like to, and make a good decision.
So should we get speed data first before we decide on the sign?
Well, I think the signs can go out, right, Dean?
I don't think it hurts to put up, 2 speed limit 25 signs, one on each side, and as we wait for the data,
Okay.
for one location, I totally agree with Randy that, to slow down and, get all the information and whatever before making a lot of decisions. But given the scope of what we're talking about, I don't think it's a bad idea necessarily to do this one before.
Well,
getting more
25 mile per hour speed limit signs can be used in the future if we find that we really don't need them there. So
Yep, you can always take them down.
I'll make a move to approve then.
Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Joyce,
Do you
if you
still want
will.
me to put? Do you still want me to put the black box up there?
Yes,
Copy.
please. Joyce, if you would indulge us, can we move to, hold on here, the number 7 light up night? Mary Claire needs to get moving
Sure.
on.
Okay.
We'll go right to number 7, discussion possible action on light up night, Friday, November 27th, 2020 in Lakefront Park. Mary Claire.
Thank you so much, Chairman. So, yes, we submitted this plan for Light Up Night, but as you know, with COVID, everything is changing every day. So I talked to the chief a little bit yesterday. On this night, we will turn on the lights, but we may not be announcing exactly what time they will be on because we're trying to not gather a crowd of people in the park. Last year we had hundreds of people, which was great, but this year that's not the best thing. Just briefly, the chief and I talked about, is it possible to do a drive-by? Have folks be able to drive by and Santa's standing up, by First Street or something. People can wave. You've seen it with the Twins, you've seen it with the state fair food and so forth, but logistically, is that going to be a traffic, nightmare? So I think we're still trying to figure out what is the best way to try and do something.
Well, I'm glad you're tackling it because we need to have this. I think it'll be good for the community. And whatever we need to do to help figure it out, we need to do that.
So is this something that we can come back to you? Well, of course, your next meeting is going to be really close to. It's just hard. Things change every day.
We're going to give you, I'm not speaking for Joyce, my opinion is, we'll give you the approval and then work with Jeff and other staff members, and we'll trust that those decisions are valid and strong, and just go with it.
Okay, I appreciate that. If everyone's in agreement, I would greatly appreciate that.
Does that sound clear to you, Joyce?
Yes, and Mary Claire is certainly trustworthy to do all make sure that things are done safely. So yes, I'll make the motion to approve the light up night celebration.
Contingent with staff recommend,
Contingent on staff recommendations, yes.
and I will second because this community needs a big Santa hug.
I was just talking to him today.
Any further discussions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Mary Claire.
Thank you very much for your support of this event, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for moving it up further on the agenda. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. If you need anything else, let me know, or so we
Yes,
fast track whatever.
yes, we'll be in communication. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you. Number 4, discussion possible action regarding speed concerns on Summer Street between 7th Street and 11th Street. I know, Joyce, this came from you through Jeff.
Yeah. So,
Do we have a house number on this complaint?
pardon?
Do we have a house number on the complaint? I didn't see it.
No,
I believe he lives right on the corner of Liberty and Summer, or 10th and
Yeah.
Summer, right in there.
Well, I
think he
gotta
said-
tell you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I think he said Liberty and Summer was where he
I
lived.
gotta tell you that I live there,
Yeah, I know.
and we have a former police officer and a parking attendant, guy that also lives there. And my question is this a newer resident? Because we have never had a complaint regarding this at that situation.
What he said was that when the police officer was active as a police officer and had the patrol car in front of his house, then there wasn't a problem because people slowed down when they saw the patrol car. But now that he's retired and there's no patrol car in his driveway, that has changed the behavior.
Well, easy fix. Just buy us a new police car to park up there.
Or at
I
least
think I saw that on the agenda somewhere.
You know, could we get fiberglass models that we could just park all over the city? They might be a little bit less expensive than a full police car.
No, I'm not suggesting there isn't a speeding problem during particular times. It's gotten worse. It's gotten busier up here because
Yeah.
people are cutting and crossing. But doggone it, we can't just start posting and putting speed humps and all this stuff we potentially would want to do to slow this down. At some point, we got to realize that this isn't an enforcement issue, and I'm not bashing the enforcement of it. We just need to do targeted enforcement up there.
Well, and again, we need to get some data before we.
That's in years past what we've done. Well, the data should be attached. Data should be attached to the packet. In years past,
That's right.
That's
Yep,
kind of.
thanks.
I mean, we get a traffic complaint, and that's what we do, right? We target enforcement up there, and then you don't hear anything of it. It seems like the last year and a half or so, every time someone gives a complaint, we're putting the black box up, which is not a problem. But we're talking about it at these meetings. Maybe we should try some of this other stuff first, and if it doesn't rectify the issue, then maybe come to this committee and say, okay, this is what we've tried. What else can we do?
Yeah, because there are other things that we could be talking about. And I mean, this is important, don't get me wrong, but we have to be cognizant of this issue. Granted, we can't get more cops. I mean, love to, but we have to be smart about this. And with Dean helping and Jeff's opinions, and come up with a different way to strategize when we're talking about this. Even maybe putting all of them under one item and saying, what are they identified closely related issues that we can do this one thing for those 3 issues, for example, or do we, we can't put up signs everywhere.
Yeah. So Dean and Jeff, what do you recommend here?
Oh,
I'll
goodness.
go. I can put up the. I've already put up the speed counter, right? So we've got the
Yeah,
data.
we've
So
got
we
the
have
data.
a pretty accurate reflection of when there are speed issues, which, without studying it more than I had a couple of days ago, would probably, fall in line with school time and after school time and early evening time when people are coming home from work, which is generally when our traffic issues are throughout the city, right?
Yes.
So we'll put out some extra patrol stations up there. Keep in mind too, we also have the speed trailer that flashes your speed at you, right? We can put that up there for a little while.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then we can, revisit it and, let's say next spring, right? Because, let's be honest, there's probably not going to be a huge speed issue up there during the wintertime. When snow starts flying, it's not a very heavily traveled road, so the road surface probably won't be seen again until about March, once the snow does start flying, right? So let's revisit it maybe in the spring. I'll put the traffic counter up there again and see what the data says in the spring. And if it's an issue again, then we put another alert out for, as time permits, enforcement, a stepped up enforcement in that neighborhood. That's kind of how we do it.
I think that's reasonable, and that's common sense approach to it. Dean, did you have a?
Yeah, well, I was just, thinking of it through my lens, I guess, too. It's kind of that street, for my knowledge, is, it's designed for parking on both sides of the street, right? And except that everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, most people out there have, driveways off the street and garages, so they're not parked on the street. And so you get kind of a feeling of a wider street that people can drive faster on, because those parked cars don't neck the street down, so to speak. It's passive speed control through parked cars. So, it's kind of a similar thing to what we're going to talk about later with 9th Street. Some of this, in the engineering world anyway, some of the same types of things could be used there. But that costs money, all that good stuff. So it's, I think the first, it's good to have a first step being enforcement and that kind of stuff like Jeff was just talking about. And if that doesn't work or help or whatever, then you get to something, the next step kind of thing. Step one is this, step two is that. Maybe it's worth coming up with some sort of toolbox or that kind of thing for these kind of things that come up, so we can say, okay, here's the complaint, kind of falls into this situation, here's kind of what we feel like is a good process as the city of Hudson, or
I think that's a good idea for you to develop, Dean. I think that's a great idea for you to develop and get in place, I think.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so, is paint a good solution, painting the roads to make them a little narrower or something like that, and versus putting in a speed hump, which is a lot more expensive.
Right. And each problem has a different set of solutions too, so you got to make sure that you're putting the right effort towards the right problem, so to speak, too. So,
Okay. So let's start with that. Let's go that route, what Jeff laid out. You want to form a motion on it, Joyce? Or?
Sure. I'll make the motion that we, that we recommend more enforcement measures in that area, and then take another look at it in the spring, put it on the agenda. So when? April?
Well, April.
Okay.
Probably.
All right.
You want to add the data box and the trailer?
Yeah, use the data box and the trailer as needed.
Is that clear as mud, Jeff?
I got it.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Thank you. I pulled number 5. Number 6, discussion, possible action regarding stop signs on Cooley Road and 17th Street. That came from, well, we all know where it came from, but Joyce, because we pulled them. Now everybody wants them back. Jeff, did
Well,
you want to start the conversation?
People really liked having them there, so yeah. So Jeff
Well,
and
I
Dean,
can
what do you
give-
recommend?
I can give a historical update if you want and kind of how we got here.
Executive summary.
Unless you're all aware of. So basically, when the reconstruction of Vine Street, the lift of Vine Street was taking place for the development of the Atwood property, that section of Vine Street was closed. So there had to be a detour at Grandview Drive, 17th Street over to Cooley, because east of say the YMCA on Vine Street was closed to Carmichael. So there was a huge influx of traffic that took place because of the detour, which stands to reason. So it was, I mean, we had to do something to control right-of-way issue up there because traffic was literally backing up all the way down 17th Street to Laurel Avenue, people trying to get out onto Cooley Road. So I think it was Dean that recommended a three-way stop sign up there, and that seemed to work. It worked really well for that volume of traffic. After the detour was lifted, the signs came down, and the traffic has resumed to normal levels of traffic for that area. And that's kind of how we got here. So I haven't heard anything other than what Joyce has shared with me about wishing maybe they could go back, but that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, and I also say too that actually on Monday for Public Works, we're considering looking at spending some money to get traffic counts and some signal warrants analyzed as well, because I don't know if somebody separately contacted Mike Mraz or if it's the same person or something. So because there's interest, and I can understand that there would be potential for traffic flow needs out there and stuff like that. We're just going to get some more data, look at it, and make recommendation one way or another. Like if it stays as is, always stop, signal, something else, and then go from there. So we have an agenda item on Monday for that for Public Works. So I guess maybe I'd suggest supporting that effort and seeing where it leads, and maybe we can discuss that at a future Public Safety Committee meeting as well.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I haven't heard from anybody recently about things. During busier times, so morning and evening, how bad is the backup on 17th now?
It's relatively non-existent, really.
Okay.
I mean, I go through there about 7 o'clock every day. I go through there again about 10 o'clock, and then I go through there again sometimes around the 2 o'clock, and I've not seen more than 1 or 2 vehicles at the stop sign. Additionally, in the morning, from what I've seen, the vast majority of vehicles are making right-hand turns there to get on the 14th Street slip ramp to go westbound I-94. There's very few vehicles in the morning anyway that are making left-hand turns out of there. So in the afternoon, I'm sure with more people going to Target and things like that, there's probably more left-hand turn attempts, but it would be interesting to see what the data says if they do a study up there, how many left-hand turns versus right-hand turns are being made.
Okay, well then let's bring it back when you've got some data that we can discuss. How does that sound? You need a motion?
Yeah, we should.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
You got that, Melanie?
Yes, I do.
Okay, second, and any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me.
I see that Betty just came on, and Betty, are you here?
I just chat boxed her.
Oh, okay, you did. Okay, let her know that it's been taken off the
Yeah.
of it. Okay, thanks.
All right, number 8, discussion possible action on speed hump policy. Dean, I think this is you again. It came up last meeting, and we needed you, so we held it over.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard the background of what you guys talked about last meeting. So
I did.
we'll say that Jeff has attached the draft speed hump policy, and hopefully you guys are able to review it. And I guess if you have any questions or concerns about anything that's in there, things to update, I'd be willing to definitely hear all those things. I guess I don't have anything else to say about it. Hopefully you guys were able to read it and it made sense to you guys reading it. So
Yes. The things that caught my attention were the citizen support area. I know that Minneapolis had originally done some where they asked the neighborhood to pay for them, and they were changing things because that took neighborhoods that couldn't afford them out of the picture. And so I guess I would really like to see that instead of having the neighborhoods pay for them, and then also instead of having a petition, that we consider using the temporary speed humps first and then solicit information from the area residents on what they think of them after the temporary ones have been installed.
I would disagree. I want to see the neighborhood input first. That's my opinion. I won't support it without that 75%. And to be honest, that's probably the only thing that's keeping me interested in installing a speed hump policy.
Okay. Is there anything else that you think should be changed in there?
No, I thought it was pretty good thus far, but as long as we're able, because we can change this because it's a policy, not an ordinance, so we can change it a little easier and make decisions as we go along.
Okay. And it needs to be sent to City Council for approval, so I'll make the motion to send it to City Council.
Has this gone to legal?
no, our attorney has not reviewed it yet. So that would probably be a worthwhile step just to make sure there's nothing in there that would be concerning.
I think it needs to go there before it comes to council. If she can look at it before next council, fine, send it on, but it should go to Catherine first.
Okay.
And I don't know, since this is kind of a public works type thing, would it be worth sending it to public works for discussion as well? Or I don't know. People on public works are on council as well, so it kind of either way.
No, but we want to make sure we talk these issues out at the committee level so we can move our meetings along faster at council. So it would probably be a nice idea to let them review it and look through it as well.
Okay.
All right. So then I'll change my motion to have it reviewed by Catherine and then sent to Public Works Committee.
Does that sound good, Dean?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Since Public Works the next meeting is on Monday, I won't be able to get on that meeting, so it'll be in November. So.
Okay. We're not going to be installing any speed humps in the next couple months anyway.
Yeah, right.
With winter, yeah. I'll second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, no, excuse me. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dean. Number 9, discussion possible action regarding traffic signals on Carmichael Road and Mayor Road. Excuse me. Dean, that was held over too because we wanted a total price on something like that. And I know that some of the developers, we've had initial conversations. There may be some interest in helping offset the cost. What do you got?
Well, you had asked a couple months ago for the cost number, which is what you see in the packet there. The cost came in at total estimated cost of $269,000, which honestly seems right in the ballpark of what I would expect a signal for a wider road like Carmichael Road to be, given the history of price of the traffic signals kind of going up and stuff too. As far as the developers go, I'm not in that world as much. That'd be kind of maybe a Mike Johnson question, but I don't think for like the Lee development that any cost for that signal was ever incorporated into the development agreement or anything like that. If there were any future developments that generate traffic going to that intersection, that could be something in the future that would be a discussion item for there. I'm not sure how much other development would be going on, kind of to the west of that intersection to contribute to that intersection now, given that the Lee property is, apart from the apartment building that's going up, beyond that, what other traffic would be kind of added to that intersection that we can kind of quantify anyway. I also personally am not sure that a signal is quite the right. I haven't done the study, so I have a little bit of a hesitation just looking at it if the signal is the right solution for that area either. But that would be obviously something we would have to actually have a study done for, whether by me or somebody else, to really flesh out that intersection. So.
Well, and that really shouldn't be done until the apartment building is up.
Correct. I would definitely agree with that. That having the apartment building in there would be a useful piece of data to actually get in there. Traffic projections are only projections, so you don't know until it's actually there exactly what's going to happen. So, and since we know it's getting built, to hold off until spring or summer or wherever that building gets occupied, then that would make sense to me too. So.
I do think, though, that we should put it in our CIP, just, and we don't have to, if it's further down the road, then we don't have to approve it in the CIP, but we need to probably look forward to putting that number in our budget. Because something is going to need to be done there at it's already pretty bad. Especially during the peak travel times of 8 in the morning, 5 at night, 3 shift change. And there's traffic data up there quite a bit.
Yeah, I will say too that I was just marking out the striping for the road out there a couple of weeks ago, and almost getting run over about 10 times out there. I can understand.
That's not good.
And he's still resisting.
So
I can understand the need for something to happen out there. We'll just put it that way.
It's a start.
Yep.
what year should it be put into the CIP?
I don't know if you can qualify that because of the situation we're in. We have to plan for it as if we were going forward.
Right, but and
We don't spend it, we don't spend it.
no, I agree. I just next year, the year after, when would you like to see it?
Well, they plan on having that thing done in the spring, don't they? That apartment building? I don't remember.
I want to say it was the summer or so.
But they're big
because it's a large
buildings, too.
building. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So then it should be added for next year, is what you're proposing?
That's what I'm suggesting.
Mm-hmm.
So at least a starting point of a fund. And like I said, there can be conversations with development.
Mm-hmm. Well, and nothing's going to be done until traffic counts and things like that are done anyway. So
Well,
But we need to plan for that.
we have traffic counts. Now, if you want to dismiss them like I do, because, the people that live up there know what's going on. You got studies, and Dean and I will disagree on it. You got people that just sit there during peak times and count cars, and that's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're not living up there. They're not using it. So that's why I get in trouble with traffic counts. But there was one done. We have it on file.
And
Yeah,
what did
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joyce.
what did the traffic counts show, and what did it justify a stoplight there?
Not yet.
Yeah, I believe there's a corridor study for Carmichael Road that that this came from, if I'm understanding where you're thinking, Randy, and that took into consideration some sort of development at the Lee property that was before it's actually built, and then some assumptions for traffic growth along Carmichael Road and that kind of thing. So obviously that's all estimation and there's assumptions involved. So it's the projections versus reality kind of thing, which is kind of what I was saying. It'd be nice to have actual counts out there after the apartment building's built, so we know can compare, I guess, what happened versus what we thought was going to happen. And I believe the year that the traffic projections showed that a signal would likely be warranted would be 2029, I believe is what it said. I don't have it in front of me, so I think it was in that.
We won't hold you to that.
Yeah, no, I believe it was in that, kind of about 10 years out time frame before it would be warranted. So,
which our growth is just, that to me doesn't make sense. But
yeah, and I wasn't the one who did the study, so I don't know what assumptions they did make.
I was already backtracking, Joyce. See that?
Yeah, traffic projections are tricky business, so I can understand the frustration with the projections, especially if they weren't projected accurately, and then it gives a bad name for future ones. I can understand the process of where you came to where you're at. So
here's my thought. I think we should try to put it in the CIP. If it goes there, it goes there. If not, we wait another year or two. But something has to be done, and we have to keep this on the radar before someone gets killed up there.
So isn't this really Public Works to be determining whether this should go into the CIP?
Well, this is a safety issue, so that's why I brought it up.
Okay.
Plus, the neighbors wanted it to be addressed because they have a safety issue trying to turn, especially a left turn.
Okay.
Some of them are scared. They're avoiding intersection.
Mm-hmm. So what do you recommend, that we send this to council or that we send it to Public Works next?
I think Public Works should chew on it a little bit.
Okay.
See what they think, and if we have to bring it up ourselves to full council, we'll do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But
I'll make the motion
finance first. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll make the motion to send it to Public Works then.
Any further discussion? Dean, you got any? That's good. They want to see this probably.
Yeah, no, I agree with sending it to Public Works. I would like to, yes, maybe this is a conversation for Public Works, but I would like to somehow get some funding to, do the necessary traffic counts and, put the, analysis together and stuff for the signal or, and other alternatives, just to make sure we've covered our bases, to make sure it's the right solution for the area. So I would want to figure out where that would be coming from. And yeah, like I said, maybe that's a Public Works discussion.
Give us a recommendation and we can move it forward one way or the other. Or we can put it to finance and the finance committee can find the money. So all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I do have one question on that motion to Public Works, to
Public Works Committee.
Public Works Committee for inclusion in the CIP. Is that part of the motion as well?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Melanie. Number 10, discussion possible action regarding traffic data on 9th Street and Myrtle Street. Hot topic, 9th Street. Who wants this one? Dean?
I can get going on it. First, I wanted to ask, did you guys receive the issue sheet forwarded out of Public Works for this issue? I know it wasn't in the original agenda, and I had forwarded it on to be distributed. I'm not sure if that happened.
I don't think I've seen that.
I don't think I have either. What did it include?
Well, it included some alternatives for, trying some stuff out to potentially reduce the speeds out there. Is
it that? The flexible delineators?
Yeah, it's that. Yep. Okay.
Was
Just
that
wanted to
an
make sure
email?
you guys got it. So.
It was, Joyce.
Okay. From Mike?
That
In
was in the amended agenda published yesterday.
Oh, in the amended agenda. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right. Well, so just a little, you guys know all the background there. So though we've already talked about it this committee. So I took a stab at thinking about some, I guess, more outside the box, if you want to say it that way, solutions for trying to reduce the speeds along 9th Street, because always stops are not justified per the METCD out there. I came up with 3 different options. I ran them by Public Works Committee. I'll go through the options first before sharing the what they thought about it. The first option would be install temporary speed humps. As we've discussed speed humps before, but speed humps force traffic to slow down to about 15 miles per hour at each hump to safely proceed. I could see about 4 locations along this corridor from St. Croix to Vine Street to install them. We would need to remove them, the temporary, they'd be all temporary speed humps. We need to remove them prior to winter and reinstall in the spring. Public Works, the staff is not looking forward to trying to plow snow around temporary speed humps. So we would want to remove them prior to winter and install them in the spring again. It seems, based on the draft speed hump policy we discussed tonight, that 9th Street would be a candidate for putting speed humps on. Approximate cost for that would be about $6,500 for 4 temporary speed humps. That would be purchasing them, and then after a certain period of time that we try them out there, they could be reused somewhere else. So just want to throw that out there. But we'd want to have them out there for a good chunk of time to study them. It might be a good, if we went with this option, might be a good test case to see how these work in the wild, and try it out. So that's option 1. Option 2, install curb extensions and median islands using flexible post delineators. Essentially, what this option does is it's called passive speed control. It makes people go out of their way to navigate the street, so that slows them down in doing so. Not going out of their way, not like totally veering off. It'd be a matter of a few feet on either lane, but it's enough to kind of snap people out of their rhythm and make sure that they're paying attention to the road and what speeds they're supposed to be going. You can see kind of a diagram of an example intersection that I put together in the right up there. Again, the delineators would need to be removed prior to winter and reinstalled in the spring because of snow plowing issues. Approximate costs for purchasing and installing them at 4 intersections along the corridor would be about $3,000. Again, if we try this out here, I want to keep them there for a while, but after a certain period of time, we try them out and we decide yay or nay on them, we can move them somewhere else to be used for another purpose. Option 3 I put together was install essentially mini roundabouts using those delineators. And you can see kind of an idea of what that would look like in the diagram that's in the agenda item. Essentially turn a few intersections into roundabouts, which would make people slow down, look for the cross street, look for pedestrians before navigating, just like you would at a regular roundabout, just smaller. We would need to remove those posts again prior to winter and reinstall in the spring. But the signage and striping could stay out there, so they would continue to function, over the winter as the roundabout. You could also store some snow in the islands over the winter to kind of create that roundabout effect. So the approximate cost for doing this option is about $2,000. Again, the delineators could be used later or somewhere else if we chose to do so. Right now we don't have any funding for this work. We're kind of trying to figure out, what is a good option to try. These are outside the box thoughts, and we want to, think through them. But also, I'm happy to try something different out. And if this works, or whatever option we choose, if it works for this corridor, maybe we could use it somewhere else. Kind of like we were talking about those toolbox of ideas. It would be a good test case on 9th Street here to try some of these things out. So, talking with Mraz about it, as long as the delineators or speed humps would be removed in the winter, his staff is okay with any of these things. Public Works Committee, the general consensus was that option 3, the mini roundabouts, was the best option, followed by option 2 and then option 1. And then they forwarded it on to you guys to consider tonight. So, yeah, that's what I got. Any thoughts or questions, or if
Are we trying
whatever,
to do this in?
Sorry,
We're trying to do this in conjunction with the speed humps? Are we going to try one first and then the other, or are we combining?
I was thinking that it would be to kind of more use this as a test case. It'd be helpful, at least for me, to kind of pick one option and do that on this corridor rather than kind of mixing and matching, because then you don't know which of these caused the benefit, so to speak. If, say, speeds were reduced by 10 miles per hour or whatever, we wouldn't be able to point at one and said, this worked and that didn't, and
Well, then I
whatever.
think you said the speed policy first, or the speed bumps first. Maybe that's what we should stick with first before we go into this other stuff. You said it'd be a great candidate.
Yeah, the options that I put out there, I didn't necessarily number them in order of my preference. I just kind of threw them out there as options. So I just wanted to, see what you
What
guys
is your
thought
preference?
about any or all of them. I guess I'm probably towards option 3 just to try it out. I know, roundabouts, the real deal roundabouts have a track record of working for getting people to slow down along a corridor and stuff. If we tried that out, we would want to make sure that the dimensions of what we do are, enough that we can get a fire truck through there and all that good stuff. So there's some things we have to consider and think about, and obviously we want Scott's people to be able to get through there. So that, I guess that's kind of where I'm leaning. But putting all these together, I didn't want to present you with an option that I didn't think would be something good to try. So I'm open to any of those 3, or any. If we wanted to discuss another option, that's fine too. But I just wanted to get something out there to consider, maybe try out.
Scott, do you have anything to add, or have you had a chance to look that over?
I apologize. I lost my voice. Can you hear me at all?
Yeah.
So I won't talk much. No, they've always been really good about keeping us in the loop. And I don't have any issues because Mike and all the department let us know. So we'll just stay in contact with them.
Jeez, you go home and go to bed.
That's right.
Holy moly. Okay. Joyce, what you thinking?
Well, I'll make the motion to start with option 3, since that's what Public Works has recommended.
Well, it's not my first choice, but just
Well,
because
do you want to make, what do you want, the speed humps or?
well, that's the road we've been going down. And Dean, you didn't suggest it in your memo, but you said it on this meeting that it's a great candidate for these speed humps.
Mm-hmm.
So one or the other.
I'll withdraw the motion then and make the motion to put in speed humps because I think that.
Well, we have to pass the policy first,
Oh, there's a problem.
and then we would have to get the neighborhoods on board, which I'm assuming wouldn't be an issue, but you don't know.
Yeah,
I
and I
guess-
will say too that the Public Works Committee wanted option 3. Not, they're just throwing it out there. And option 1 was kind of their last choice, but yeah, we can certainly forward it to council and see what happens there. Like I said, I'm willing to consider any of them. So
Joyce, we can forward it to council option 3.
Okay.
I'll move it out with you.
All right.
So is that your motion again?
Yes,
Option 3?
reinstate my original motion.
Melanie, you have
Option
that?
3.
Okay.
Yep, we're good.
Okay. I'll second for conversation for council. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We'll move it on to council for discussion. Obviously, we're going to get something up there to address the issue.
Mhm.
So we're moving in the right direction. Of course, government's always slow. Number 11.
also, sorry, Miranda, I just want to point out too that, we already talked about, winter being on the horizon here too. So I don't know that any of these would necessarily be implemented until spring, but certainly getting the legwork done beforehand to install them in the spring is good.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it'd be good to get the speed hump policy put through council before the end of the year so that we can make plans for next spring.
Good. Number 11, discussion possible action regarding speed on East Canyon Drive. Was this Bill's issue, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. This was brought up actually by Councilperson Hall to be on a future agenda to not lose sight of it. And then Bill made a request that we obtain more current data because the last data set that we had was from May, I think, of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted more current data from a different location. So that's where the box is right now, collecting data as we speak.
Let's hold this one over till next meeting.
Yes, when we have data. Okay.
Number 13, informational items. Anybody? None? EMS update. Is John on? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Fire department, I don't know if you want to give a report or not.
I'm gonna kind of pass. Everything's going okay so far. We did have the EMS advisory meeting the other day, and I think I forwarded all that information that John went over at the meeting to the council members. So that's kind of the EMS. I'm not giving the update, but as far as we're going, everybody seems to be okay and staying busy.
Stay healthy, my friend.
Thank you.
Jeff, police department updates.
Not a lot to report. Business as usual. Very busy. Dealing with different attitudes toward law enforcement is challenging. We haven't really experienced anything out of the ordinary. It's picked right back up to where a normal kind of season would be. It's very interesting with the school now hybrid, so we have extra people out roaming around at times of the day when they normally wouldn't be roaming around. And that's really it from the department side of things. The one thing I would like to maybe discuss at some point is, and I think you and I kind of got it pegged out here, Randy, today, but with items for these agendas, everybody seems to forward people to me or send me emails, and it's like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with those most of the time. So I think what I'm going to do is just forward everything I get to Randy and let him decide what he wants on the agenda. And then, you know, just let me know what you want. We can do issue sheets if you need issue sheets and attach any information that we might have. But he's really taken a lot of time that I don't really have, and it's not really appropriate, I don't think.
Right.
So
And Aaron was on board with it as well.
Yeah, so that's good. And the other thing I wanted to maybe talk about a little bit is with some of these complaints, I mean, how much, when we get the one or two people that are concerning and bringing an issue forward, how much polling of the neighborhoods are we doing to see if they're doing the same, seeing the same thing? Because what I've seen in the last, 2 years and a few months that I've been here, is we'll get a complaint from somebody, bring it to public safety and talk about solutions to fix it. And then we do something, and then we have the rest of the neighborhood coming forward to say, what are you guys doing? What's the point? So maybe we should do some data collection of the personal nature before we even bring these things forward to see if the rest of the neighborhood even knows or even thinks there's the same issue. I don't know. I'm just spitballing a little bit, but it seems like we've been going down that path, and it's frustrating, right? Because we spend a lot of time and effort trying to fix problems that maybe they don't even exist.
Hey, Jeff, could I also chime in real quick? A related item, we're just starting to talk about Public Works on Monday also, is a process for sign requests. It could be, things like speed limit signs like we talked about tonight, or it could be anything else, essentially. So staff will be looking into, maybe drafting up a policy for how these things should be handled as well, what data needs to be collected and what committee it should go to and that kind of thing. So we're just starting the process of looking at it. So I just wanted to keep you guys in the loop, and obviously it would be something that would come to this committee as well once we're a little bit more into it to figure out what.
Remember, being that one committee can't control the other committee's discussions or what they can do or can't do. Committees are free to do what they need to do and recommend it to council. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, I was saying that.
Public Works can't dictate what public safety does, and vice versa.
Yeah, well, and this process would go to council as a policy update. Hopefully, I say this because I want, like you were saying before, Randy, the committee level is really where these things should get hashed out, and so I said to come to public safety as making sure that the Public Works voice is heard and then the public safety voice is heard as putting this together. I don't want to say one committee is superseding the other, that kind of thing. Eventually, it would be a council would adopt kind of something. Right. So I don't mean to say that I'm trying to cut anybody out of the process. I'm more saying that I want to actually include everybody in the process.
Okay.
Well, and it's possible that we could each recommend that it goes to council with different changes that need to be hashed out at the council level.
And that's all right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A good idea.
Sorry, if I may. Would it make sense then to, once staff has come up with a draft policy, to have Public Works Committee discuss it and separately a Public Safety discuss it without saying, Public Works said this and Public Safety said that, or just kind of both committees recommend something to council and discuss it there?
Draft something, but I'm curious to why this origin is coming up, where this was started from. So that's a different conversation, and we're not going to do it right now. Okay. But I want to know where this is coming from. And I get it, but for 15 years, we've always sent sign requests to Public Works, and that's been done. And if that's the issue, then that needs to be talked about at a council level or department level.
Mhm.
All right. One other thing, we haven't met since we had our forum down at Lakefront Park, and I want to tell the police department and Jeff and his officers that you have as a council member, 110% support of what you do to protect this city. I've grown up as my grandfather worked with Sheriff Charlie Ward as a deputy sheriff. My father was a police officer here in the city of Hudson for over 25 years, retired as the acting chief of police, and had nothing but outstanding character, outstanding processes that this police department has gone through over the long haul of this city growing older. And I give you all 100% support of what you guys have done with this community, because you guys have worked hard, and this has just been a terrible year for our public safety, and especially for you guys. You guys earned every accolade you guys can get, and you have my 110% backing on what you guys need to move forward. And I won't mention that there were issues. There are issues, but it doesn't reflect on what you guys do as a department every day. So thank you very much to you and all your officers, Jeff, and stand proud in this city.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. And I'll add that, yeah, I agree with Randy that, you guys are doing a terrific job and it's a very difficult job. And yes, I support you as well. If there are specific incidents that need to be addressed, then we need to do them. But I appreciate your being willing to listen and see what's going on and follow through on things.
Thanks. Other items for future agendas? Anything, anybody?
Just the two that we took off the agenda for today.
Yep, those will be on the next.
All right, move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks.